There is a need to set up separate isolation units that are not part of the infrastructure that was there before to serve the other conditions. And probably this would help decongest the hospitals of the COVID-related conditions. Saying that, it's obviously difficult to build new hospitals in such short periods, but maybe the government can also look at converting certain facilities, say schools, or even discuss with the hotel owners and see if maybe hotel owners are not fully occupied. Can they look at giving out their facilities or renting out their facilities so that then the government can be able to use this as isolation centers? And this would obviously free space to be able to take up other non-COVID clients. I wouldn't say the government has failed. Maybe the government needs to look at priorities. What does it prioritize in terms of where it puts its money? But also we need to be aware that government is dealing with limited resources. So while we might want to have 2,000 beds, there are also other competing needs that the government is looking at, even within the healthcare sector. It cannot put all the funds in one condition or in one area of the sector. But maybe the other thing we need to look at is, as the public, where have we failed? So have we failed in masking? Have we failed in social distancing? Have we failed in sanitizing and all these areas? Because as a public, prevention is most important, so that then the system is not overwhelmed. As a hospital, we've made a conscious decision to invest in ICU services, simply because with the system being overwhelmed, even for the other conditions, it's important for, even if a hospital can have an extra one bed, either to serve a COVID patient or an non-COVID patient, because at the end of the day, what facilities are looking at is to save as many lives as possible, whether it's for COVID patients or non-COVID patients. So as a hospital, while it's a huge investment, we've decided to make it so that then we can play a part in saving the Kenyan lives as well. Generally, the reason why we don't have so many beds in the country is because of the cost. The cost of setting up an ICU bed ranges anywhere between 3 million to about 4.5 million. And obviously, this is a huge cost to many hospitals. The pressure on ICU beds has been put on by the COVID situation. And for this reason, then, most facilities are out of ICU beds due to the need of these patients needing ICU spaces. So this is taking away a lot of space that would have been traditionally been occupied by other conditions, and now COVID is occupying a lot of these spaces. But what I would like to do is to encourage the general public to not to be fatigued, to hold on and mask up, sanitize, social distance, so that then this fight can be won. So this fight cannot be won by the government alone. It cannot be won by the hospital or the healthcare workers alone. It can be won by a concerted effort by everybody doing their part.
I'm Naomi Wainaina. I work at Haven Hospital as an ICU nurse. And briefly, I would like to explain what it means with an ICU setup for a COVID-19 patient. And in a COVID-19 patient, for one patient, we have to have a bed, we need to have a monitor, we need to have an oxygen cylinder, and we need to have a ventilator. All these appliances come with different prices. For the monitor, it's around 150 to 250,000. For the ventilator, it's around 3 to 4 million. For the bed, it's around 150 to 250,000. And also for the gas cylinder, it's refilled daily. And you can't have just one cylinder beside the patient. You have to have like 5 cylinders. Because when one gets done, you don't keep rushing outside to get another cylinder. So you get all these things, if you combine the prices, it's too much expensive. It's approximate 4 million and above to manage a COVID-19 patient. And despite the appliances, because there are also other appliances that are not here, because the more the patient deteriorates, that's when we come with other appliances, then they are all expensive. So apart from the appliances, with the COVID-19 for just one patient, we have the medical professionals that attend this patient. For one, we have to have a physician, we have to have a nurse, we have to have a lab technician, we have to have a cleaner, we have to have everyone, even the cook, because this person who's cooking for the COVID-19 patient can't cook for the other people. So you find the hospital have to hire extra personnel at a higher price, because you see, for these patients to be served, for this nurse who's coming into a COVID-19 room, she has to ask for an extra cost, because you can't risk for an ICU room with 1,000. Eventually you ask for more money, because you're risking your life and the life of your relatives. So you find managing a COVID-19 patient, from the appliances to the labor involved, you find that it's too much. It's even more than that 4 million. You may find it's about 7 million Kenyan shillings. I know most people wonder why ICU services countrywide are a bit more expensive as compared to other conditions that are managed out of the ICU. And the reason behind it is because of the appliances used to manage just one patient of ICU. So, like behind me, you can see there is a monitor, there is a bed, there is a ventilator, and there is an oxygen cylinder. That's just to serve only one patient. And in that patient, you may find it's only one nurse who is assigned to attend the patient. So you can imagine a scenario where you have like 10 patients. So you have to have 10 nurses, because this person needs a nurse bedside, because the patient can deteriorate when the nurse is serving another patient. So you see that the labor is expensive. Also, more staffs are needed, and the more staff are needed, the more the money is spent to manage a patient in ICU. Cumulatively, to set up a one ICU unit in Kenya, it will cost you around 4 million and above for just one patient. And that explains to you why in Kenya ICU services are a bit expensive as compared to the other countries.
Na nikitaka kusema hivi, serikali za kaunti kwanza, wacha hii ugonjwa tumekuwa nayo zaidi ya mwaka mmoja. Tumekuwa tukisema wacha tuongeze vitanda za ICU. Sasa tuko na third wave, ICU zimejaa, HDU zimejaa kabisa. Wacha tukiwa serikali, hata serikali ile yetu ya kati, ile tunaita national government, wacha tuwe serious na hii maneno ya COVID, otherwise tutapoteza kizazi. Kwa hivyo ningewahimiza sana kabisa, wacha tuwe serious na matibabu, wacha tuwe serious na kuongeza vitanda za ICU, na sana wacha niseme hii vaccination imekuja. Tuache maneno ya kuwekelea siasa kwa vaccination. Otherwise hii ugonjwa itatumaliza. Wacha tuwe hivi, kama kuna mtu anaweza kwenda vaccination kabisa, na sana sisi wanasiasa tusipeleke siasa katika matibabu ya corona. Corona ni kitu inaua, ni kitu inamaliza, na haiheshimu mtu, inashika viongozi mpaka madaktari, inashika kila mtu. Kwa hivyo wacha tujikige. Kuna kitu inaitwa herd immunity. Herd immunity itapatikana wakati 80% ya watu wa Kenya, almost 40 million, wakati watu 40 million watapata vaccination mbili, ndio tutapata kitu inaitwa herd immunity, na ndivyo tutafungua biashara zetu. Wacha tupigwe hiyo chanjo ili tufungue mabiashara na tuende kazi.